What are you doing? Hey everyone, welcome to GardenFork. Today I'm going to give you a tour of my homemade greenhouse behind us here. We've had this house, well, the greenhouse was here when we moved in. I did some upgrades, but I just wanted to show you, if you got a bunch of windows laying around, you could make something like this, right?
Right.
Okay.
I was preoccupied by that.
All right, let me give you a tour, okay? These are these giant windows that were in the garage, actually, when we bought the house. You might find these at a junkyard or something, or maybe someone's throwing them out. And then the roof is actually fairly new. It is a corrugated greenhouse plastic that we bought at one of the home improvement stores. So that's the new thing. It did have this kind of old style.
Green, it was green.
It was like a faded green roof, but a couple of tree limbs went through it and some ice. And so we upgraded and got something that's a little more robust.
Oh, I think this is where you say, oh, we have a video about that.
There's a lot of snow.
We barely put a dent in it.
Yeah, well, that's all I can reach, but I'll take some of the weight off.
You want to tell them about the
Wow.
It worked!
See, it's very simple. There is a bit of a snow lull on here, so I've upgraded the bracing of our roof here. So where the greenhouse meets the clapboard of the house, I put in a big piece of flashing at an angle so water doesn't get between the greenhouse and the clapboard and rot that wood. It hits the metal flashing and then goes onto the roofing of the greenhouse there. So however your house is clad, think about that if you're attaching your greenhouse to the wall of the house. I tried to build a new door and it didn't work very well. So this is
a hazard.
A hazard. So we will make a new door. I'm not a finished carpenter.
Wait, where's that glass?
Oh, this is where the glass hit the stone wall and broke.
There's stone behind that glass.
Yeah, oops. So this, I generally consider this a 3-season greenhouse. Winter, it's just too cold. Maybe it's a 2.5 season because in the middle of the summer, it gets quite hot in here. It'll get up to 100 degrees. If you put some shade cloth over the greenhouse roof, I think in the middle of summer, it would be more usable. But by that time, you know, your seedlings and everything are already outside. But it's just kind of a neat place to get some kind of, just that kind of warmth in late winter or in the fall. It just kind of, you get the sun coming in, it's quite nice. But it's all totally DIY. This is scrap lumber. This big window here was a window that I found in one of the sheds. And I used to have one of these solar powered, what's kind of a heat activated opener and closer.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And I bought this at a greenhouse supply. I'll link to the show notes if you want to use it. But I just found that it was easier just to prop it open with a stick.
That's more your style anyway.
Well, because for until the end of September, it gets too hot in here. So I just keep the windows open night and day. It is fun to watch this thing open and close, but if your window's too heavy or if there's a snow load on top of your window, this all becomes an issue. So this is pretty simple. This is my manual vent opener. Here.
Ta-da!
And that stays like that for the 3 seasons. I also have another window over here. This one, again, I found it and I just thought because it's a little higher up, you know, the heat would go out. It works pretty good, and I keep the door open most of the time too. You could put a vent, I guess, way in the top here, but that becomes more difficult. So then you have to cut into the plastic clear roofing.
Then you have a hole in your roof.
And you have a hole in your roof. The potting table is just some scrap lumber that we put together. It's really great for projects. We've shot a bunch of videos here. Our cleaning cast iron with a battery charger video, which we just shot. The links will be in the show notes for that. So it's kind of also nice to have like a work table with a solar light, just kind of a nice enveloping light. And then we just kind of keep birdhouses and stuff here. One warning about birdhouses. mice will try and move into them.
They won't try, they'll succeed.
They will succeed. That's the biggest problem in our greenhouse is the critters that will get in. It was either a possum or a raccoon got in here and blew out a window of my big vent window there. If you're going to have if you're keeping any buckets, keep the buckets upside down. Otherwise, mice will go in here and they'll get stuck and die, and then it smells really bad. So anything you keep underneath here, just keep in mind that the mice will try and get into it. The floor is plastic with just some pea gravel on top of it. It's like a clear 4 or 6 mil plastic I'll lay down, and then the pea gravel. And that's great because it just keeps some of the ground moisture from wicking up into the air.
And keeps the weeds out. We used to have a bunch of weeds in here.
Right, so it also keeps the weeds down because it's so nice in here that a lot of stuff would grow in the greenhouse. One upgrade that I'm going to do is I'm going to put electricity out here, and so you should use a GFI outlet with a weather protected cover. This is really important because even in here it can get wet, and if your outlet gets zapped, it's a bad thing. You can arc, it can start a fire. These are nominally expensive but worth the money. I'll link to the one that I'm using in the show notes below. But you can do this. You can put an outlet, put the cover on with the weather protected cover. Makes a big deal.
I see you also have some natural history exhibits going on here.
Yeah, you know, this is like a skull we found in the woods. It's just kind of fun to decorate it with found stuff.
There's part of the power system right there.
That's actually the old generator wire, and I just haven't taken it out yet. So,
So it's nothing.
Right.
It's decorative.
Mm-hmm. So this roof gets quite a load of snow. So I put in a 2x4 and this cross bracing. So the load is shared by these. And I know these studs should be turned on their end, but this is how it was when I got here, and I wasn't about to change it. But then I put in this cross beam, which I tied into the walls. So it helps with the snow load, but I do have to, every winter, I have to pull the snow off this roof. But sometimes it's just kind of fun to watch it all shoosh right off the roof, so it's like...
And it melts pretty quickly, actually.
Yeah, it melts pretty quickly. But also, then you've got this little solarium in the winter. You can come here and hang out and have your coffee.
Aww.
Take that, go outside. No, get it and go outside. All right, there you go. Another one of our eclectic DIY videos. We have a bunch of gardening videos and, you know, just Eric doing stuff on the weekends. If you like what you're seeing here, you can subscribe. Information about me is below, more of our videos. And more of the Labradors. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Have you made a greenhouse? I'd like to hear about it. Make it a great day.